Welcome back. I hope y'all are ready for today's guest because we're about to learn a little bit more about independent professional baseball. I'm Grayson Knight, and this is Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. The Florence Y'alls are in the Frontier League, which is not associated with the MLB affiliated minor league teams, but the league and teams are filled with professional baseball players nonetheless. Today, I am joined with Chad Rhoades, the manager of the Y'alls, who will be fielding some questions that might help ball players still looking to get paid to play. Coach Rhoades, thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm good, great man. How you doing? I'm happy to be here, bro.
Mhm.
Happy to be.
I'm great right now. So, is it true that you're in Portugal right now?
I'm in Portugal. It's 1 o'clock for me. So I've already been up, done my morning routine,
Mhm.
already kind of living life, and while the U.S. is starting to wake up. Yeah, I'm in Portugal, and loving it. It's kind of gloomy outside, but
Mm.
it's on the water nonetheless. It's nice.
So that's about 4 or 5 hours ahead. It's 9 a.m. right now in
Yeah, so
Georgia.
well, it's weird because you guys had the time change, but we don't. The time change doesn't happen over here until March 31st. So I'm typically 5 hours ahead of the East Coast, but as of now, I'm only 4 hours ahead. So I've had to reschedule a bunch of calls because I didn't know there was a gap until a couple weeks ago.
Mhm. So one more thing I want to show is the Y'all Star Squishmallow that we just recently got. We were talking about this before the interview, but look how cool this is. My sister loves Squishmallows, so we had to get it when this dropped.
Are they like squeeze it? I want to see. I want to see it. Oh, so it's like
Yeah, it's very.
I got you. And the dogs
Mm-hmm.
got a hold of it. They didn't tear it up, so it's durable too.
Mm-hmm. It is very durable. Yeah, my sister loves Squishmallows, so yeah, we just got this one. This one's probably my favorite so far, and it says Florence Y'all on the back.
That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to get one when I get back for sure.
So I'm not sure if you know this, coach, but you're actually the third Y'all's person on the show. I've interviewed Jarrett Sheik and Casey Grimm about 2 years ago. I don't think they're still on the team though.
No, Jared, he retired, and Casey, I think he was let go in 22. I remember I was there, the pitcher coach, when we brought him on initially in 21. And I've been around Jared Cheek when he was there for a couple years as well. Both great dudes, man. Both are solid type
Hmm.
of.
Really great interviews. Jarrett Sheik, we did that in person. It was really nice.
He's one of the smartest. He's probably the smartest dude I've actually ever coached. It might be one of the smartest dudes I've ever met. That
Hmm.
dude's sharp. He is super sharp.
So I was doing some reading up on you. So you're from Texas. You got drafted by the Red Sox, worked for the Marlins, and now you're in your second stint with Florence. So let me ask this: as a college pitcher, what do you think you did right that got you drafted out of Oklahoma Baptist University in 2006?
What did I do right? What I did right was I only thing I really knew coming up. I'm a smaller guy. I'm a little bit undersized, 5'9". College I was probably 160, 165. But I really knew how to compete, and I really had a good work ethic. One thing that my dad instilled in me growing up, because we grew up from a small town, really small town, like 2,000 people, small town in Texas, and I never went to a professional game really when I was growing up. I didn't know anything about the minor leagues, didn't know anything about that stuff. And so just watching on TV, and my dad's like, "Oh yeah, they get paid a lot of money to play baseball." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "How do you do that?" And my dad really didn't know anything other than, he didn't know any more than I did about baseball. He was a football player. He's an athlete, so he knew a little bit. But as far as the ins and outs, he didn't know any of that. So he's like, "Well, you just got to work harder than everybody else around you, and you're going to give yourself the opportunity to do that." And so that was one of those things that I was told when I was younger was just work harder than everybody else around you, and eventually you're going to be better than everybody else. And so I did. So if dudes are running laps, so I'm going to run. I was that dude who's going to run another one. Like I was going to always push myself a little bit more than everybody else because I knew that was the only thing in me that I could do to up my status and to be able to get better, whether I was working on the right things or not. I was going to do it harder and more than the next person, and that gave me an opportunity to get to college. I didn't really have a whole lot of looks to get to college. I just knew how to compete, and I had a good arm. That was it. I didn't know how to pitch. I didn't really know a whole lot about baseball. It's like I just like throwing this ball and trying to beat the dude in the box. I got a rock. He's got a stick. Let's go. Like that was the mentality that I always took. And it kind of carried me through, man. That's what got me my opportunity, to be honest with you, was I really knew how to compete against the guy that's in the box. And I was never afraid of it, never back down from a challenge. And like I said, that took me to double A. And there in double A, you have to really figure out how to pitch. Like you have to know situational baseball. You have to understand pitching, working guys in and out, up and down, back and forth, learning how to read a hitter, understanding situational game. You had to do that. And I didn't know that. Like I said, I was still a dude just throwing rocks, man. That was me.
Hmm. Well, I think attitude and effort are the main things that pretty much like most people like kind of look over, but that's the two main things that help separate you from the rest of the kids in the group.
No doubt, no doubt. Those are things you can control, and that's what you're talking about. You can control your attitude, you can control your ethic, you can control your work ethic too. So all those things I was in control of. Like I had a good head on my shoulders about that, but it was those little things that kind of impeded my career. As far as the details of, there's better baseball players, but as far as be able to compete, to get to a higher level, you got to know how to compete. You got to know how to push yourself, and you got to keep that good attitude about yourself.
So, what was behind your college choice? Because it was closer to home or something else?
I ended up going to Grayson College out of high school. So it was a JUCO, good JUCO. There's a lot of guys. I think both years I was there, I think there was 9 guys both years get drafted out of JUCO. Most guys went to junior college, especially that school, to get drafted. That way they didn't want to go to a 4-year school. They wanted to go to a good JUCO to get looked at. And Grayson was a big one at the time. It was one of the top JUCOs in the state, in the U.S. As far as producing professional players. And so I went there not necessarily to get drafted, but it was because it was one of the only opportunities I had. It was only like an hour away from home, and it was cheap, man. I didn't grow up with a lot of money or whatever, but so I got a full Pell Grant to go there, so school was basically free. And then after that, I had some opportunities to go to some other schools, but it really came down to like the money thing. And as far as Oklahoma Baptist, I never heard of it before. Never heard of it before they offered me a scholarship to go there and pitch. I'm like, okay, these guys are going to help pay for school, and I can go to get a good education at a really good school that I didn't know anything about, which didn't bother me. I'm going to go compete and be the same guy no matter where I went. Obviously, I would have liked to play at a big D1 or whatever, but when it comes down to getting a school paid for, when I was in the situation I was in, that was what I chose. And it ended up being a blessing in disguise. I ended up getting my sports ministry degree and kind of went down that, and it helped me turn into coaching and all that stuff. So I don't regret it at all, but that was it. It wasn't because I sought it out, actually.
Hmm. So, because I've been working out with a trainer that has trained a bunch of pro ball players, I've had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about pro ball and independent ball versus affiliated baseball. So, would you mind educating my 18 listeners about the differences and talk about opportunities indie ball might provide a guy that doesn't get drafted?
So especially now, independent ball is becoming a little bit more prevalent because there's a new league too. You got the Pioneer League, just kind of came on board, but independent ball fills that gap between college and the minor leagues, like those guys who get overlooked in the draft. If you get overlooked in the draft, there's another stepping stone. Independent ball offers that. Independent ball is becoming the new minor leagues. I mean, the more teams they start chopping down in the minor leagues, they cut all those short season teams. They cut most of the rookie balls. They cut some of those Latin teams. They cut down some of those. And I did hear that they might be chopping down one more A ball team, and they might just go triple A, double A, single A. So there's more and more players now that are out of jobs. And so where do they go to get the jobs, to be able to get the opportunity to get back in? They go to independent ball. That's what independent baseball is for. There's 4 main leagues. There's 4 main independent leagues. And Frontier League is the one that I'm in. We have, I think, 16 teams. We play 96 games. I mean, it's just like a minor league season. I have guys big leagues all the way down to A ball, straight out of college. So and each league has their own set of rules. So I'll talk about the Frontier League specifically, and the reason that I like it. The Frontier League, we send a lot of guys back more to like A ball, double A, kind of the younger, because we are a league that we want to focus on those like guys in their early 20s, early to late 20s. That's what we want to focus on. That's our area. And the rules in the Frontier League is you have to have 10 guys that are in their first or second year of professional baseball. That's what makes it beautiful. The other leagues, the Atlantic League, the American Association, they don't have that rule. You can have all guys that are in their late 20s. They've been playing professional baseball 5 or 6 years. You can have a team full of those guys, which is cool, which is fine. But the Frontier League, you have to have 10 guys on your roster that are within their first or second year, like straight out of college, or they went and played rookie ball for 1 year, got released. You have to have 10 of those guys. So you really have to teach professional baseball and like teach what it is. And it fills that gap, man. It gives those guys. I signed 2 guys. Last year was my first year managing, and I had a new team, so I didn't know half the guys on the team. I knew a few of them. So by the end of the year, I wanted to bring on guys that I did know, the type of players that I wanted, and the type of guys that I knew needed an opportunity to be able to get to affiliated ball. So I went after a lot of college guys, especially after the draft, guys that I thought got overlooked. And 2 of those guys signed this offseason, 2 of those pitchers, Carter Spivey and Aaron Rund. Aaron Rund just closed out a big league game a couple of days ago with the Brewers. But I picked up those guys, and that's exactly what independent baseball is for. It's for guys who get overlooked. Maybe they got released after 1 or 2 years and they still need to get back and they need to figure out what it is they need to work on to get better, to give themselves another opportunity. That is what independent baseball is for.
So you've been around the game for a long time. You were a relief pitcher. You've been a coach. You've been a pitching rehab coach. So in your opinion, do you think the game has gotten easier or harder for a high schooler to make it to the pros?
Man, I don't. The information that's available to you in order to be able to get bigger, stronger, faster, like in a quicker time span, it's right there for you. Like, I mean, it's laid out for you. I didn't have that when I was coming up. I'm only 41. So, and I was playing what, 16 years ago, and we didn't have it laid out like this. We didn't have workout plans that you needed to focus on. We didn't have the arm care routines that they have now. And so you have all that for you. And I think if you have the drive, if you have the work ethic, if you have the attitude, if you have the effort that you want to put into it, and you apply it to the stuff that they have available for you, the information, I can't see why it's not easier, to be honest with you. That's my opinion.
I 100% agree. It's just kids nowadays, they have all these tools, like you said, but some kids are just like not willing to put in the work. They don't want to put in any work. And some kids are want to put in all the work and have the most effort, and that's what really separates the players that could be major leaguers from the players that might not get to the major leagues.
You're right. You are correct, man. Like you said, everything is out there for you. It's available. And most guys, like, they want to go to the next new toy, and that's probably the downside of social media. Is like there's always something new. There's always something better. When guys don't even know how to work out, they don't know how to get strong. They don't know how to invest in themselves. They just want to go to the next new workout. Oh, look at this! Look at this thing. He's got this thing full of water, and he wants to shake this around. I got to get good at this. I got to get good at this band, this bouncy thing. I mean, I don't buy into all that stuff. Like, I want guys to learn how to play catch the right way. Like, do those things that actually makes you better, which is play catch. Work on how to throw strikes. Not, okay, I got to get this workout in. I got to learn how to do all this stuff. No, that's all like little supplements for you. But if you know how to work hard, like you said, if you have that effort, if you have the attitude to be able to do the things you actually need to do that are going to make you better, then you will get better. Like, and I think another thing that I think around, and I can't say it's a generational thing. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that this generation doesn't know how to fail, because I think the information is out there. But I do think that the attention span to be able to stay focused on one thing, I think that's lacking a little bit. And so I think when somebody fails at one thing, they jump to the next and they want to try something else rather than understanding why they failed at this one specific thing, to be able to overcome that and get better at it and go and level up. I think they always bounce from the next to the next, and you keep failing on the low levels instead of failing to be able to get better at one thing.
So do you think given the option, a player should choose college over signing out of high school?
I do. I mean, I do. I think that go to school, man. I think because the development that you're gonna get. Now, the reason I say that is because I did the minor league thing, minor league coach for the Marlins, and I did rookie ball the whole time I was there. While I was doing rehab, I obviously got to see all the draft classes come in. Now, I got to see a lot of high school signs come in. Now, what is missing there is I can't say it's just like life experience, because you miss that gap from 18 to 22 to 23, maybe 24 now, where you're at college, where you're developing, where you're around people that are your age that are focused on the same goals. And you're putting in that effort. Now, when you jump in, now let's say it's jump in an 18-year-old with 24, 25-year-olds who've already been to college. Now he doesn't have, like, he missed that space. He missed that time, and he's trying to play catch up. And so, like, he's still going to spend his time in the minor leagues learning to develop, and he's going to spend all that time that he would be in college getting an education and working towards something that he can actually fall back on if baseball ends, because baseball ends for everybody. What do you have when you fall back on it, especially if you don't make the big leagues? You don't have anything to rest your next career, rest your next move on. And it works out for some guys. I can't say if you get offered $1 million out of high school to turn that down and go to school. Like, obviously it's case by case dependent, and it's, it's to each individual. But now most days, those, I guess, the high school kids who do get offered, make sure you do get your college tuition and your everything paid for. Like, add that into the bonus that you're going to get. But if I had the choice and tell guys, and I have told some guys before, if it comes down to signing for not very much money and you're in the later rounds where you're going to be spending the next 4 or 5 years in rookie ball, go to college. Go to college, start working on your education. You're going to be able to develop at a clean level. And if you are as good as you think you are, and you're as good as you're already on professional radars, then what's the harm? Like, getting hurt? Like, you're going to get hurt anywhere. Like, so to me, I would see rather guys go to school. Now I will say this too. Take the junior college route if you're in between. Like, why not take the junior college route? It's cheap. The classes aren't as hard. You can knock out your core classes. You can knock out the core curriculum. And then 2 years later, if you don't get drafted out of junior college, you're going to get better offers to go to D1s, to better places, at least scholarships to go there, because schools like those JUCO guys. And then you're only 2 years away from getting drafted again. So you take the JUCO route if you maybe get looked at high school and it's not the pick that you want. But I would say go to college, man.
So, what's the best way an unsigned player can find their way to a tryout for the Y'alls or another independent organization? And what are you guys looking for?
What am I looking for specifically?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, sir.
players right now.
Hmm.
Uh, I could tell you this: what type of players are you talking about? Positions, or what type of dudes?
Like, what type of dudes?
What type of dudes? Um, I should have worn my glasses with you, Grad. I thought you got contacts recently.
I did, but yeah, I just didn't want to wear them right now.
How
I don't
thick are
know.
your glasses, man? Because I bet mine are probably thicker than yours.
Maybe I have really bad eyesight.
Me too, man. I can see, without my glasses or contacts, I can see about 8 inches in front of my face. I'm
Hmm.
like legally blind.
I
I
think
always tell people when I wear my glasses, I'm like, don't, if the sun's out, don't stand next to me when I'm outside, man, because it's like a magnifying glass. You might get burned.
I'm
Um,
farsighted, so that means I can only see near, or I don't know what that means.
yeah, I know. I always get confused when I'm thinking about those
Hmm.
two, man.
All right.
I like the clear frames of it. But
Hmm.
anyway, let's get back to the
Yeah.
dude.
What type of dudes are you looking for at a tryout?
What type of dudes am I looking for? Okay, so the tryouts are typically, the teams will post them online. You can find there's usually websites that you can see. Um, each individual organization will have like days throughout the off season, or maybe during the season. I'll have two tryouts. I have one right before season on April 19th. We have one in Florence at the stadium. And then I'll have another tryout when the college season's over with. So that college players that don't get to come to the one before because they're playing, if they graduate, those fifth year guys, I'll have one after the college season, mid season, maybe around my All-Star break, for guys to come in. But we have one April 19th. And then the league has a tryout too. It's the Frontier League tryout, and it is in Washington, Pennsylvania this year, and it is like April 22nd, 23rd. So it's like a 2-day thing. You go to the first day, and then you like throw a bullpen, or you hit BP, and then you get invited to come back the next day to like do live. But me specifically, In my tryouts, I'm looking for the dudes we've already talked about, the attitude and effort guys. I don't take guys who can fake hustle, man. I can see through that. Like I can see through all the fake guys. I can see through the oh yes sir, no sir. I can see through that stuff, man. It's pretty easy to see through. You know, you can't hide that when you're out there. And I look for guys. I could see a guy's talent. I could see his drive. I want to get to know guys, and it's not just me looking up a guy's numbers or watching him out there. Like I'll never watch a guy in the bullpen. Just let me watch you throw a bullpen and then sign you. Like no, I don't care if you're throwing 95 and you got 20-inch vert or you got this spin rate. I don't care, man. I want to see you compete. Now, like my tryouts different than most tryouts. I'm not because I'll say this, man, a lot of those tryouts that are held by most teams, they're there to take your money. Like this, I'm gonna throw some stuff out there. They're there to take your money. Just pay $100, come on this tryout. There's 50 dudes show up, and they're not gonna sign anybody. And they're gonna have a guy throw 10 pitches in a bullpen. They're gonna give you 2 rounds of BP, and they're gonna say thank you for coming. See you later. Maybe I'll call you. What I do with mine is my tryouts are a little bit different. I don't run the 60 anymore. I'm not going to do that because why? Like if you're not in shape to come to this tryout, you running a 60 is not going to prove it to me. And I'm not going to sign you based off your 60 anyway, because you can run, if you got the fastest 60 time there and you can steal bases, but you can't hit, you can't field, and you can't throw, what good are you? I can bring a guy off the bench that could do that himself.
Mm.
So I take guys, I do the outfield throws, I do those in the gaps. So I want to see guys make the long throws to each base. Just see their footwork. I'm looking at their angles. You know how they get behind the ball, how they come through the ball. I'm looking at their arm, all that stuff. A guy has to have defensive prowess to be able to catch my eye. And then I'll take all the infielders. I'll put them at shortstop, and I'll watch them field balls at short, whether they're a second baseman, third baseman, whatever. I'm going to put them at the most athletic position, which is shortstop. I'm not looking for a second baseman at a tryout specifically, because I'm going to look at guys who can show their athleticism at short. I mean, if you can play shortstop, you can play those other positions. And I'm not saying I'm looking for guys that not looking for a second baseman. I mean, I'm just going to put every infielder at short, make the throws from short to first, and then I'm going to have the catchers throw, and then I'll run through a BP. And I'll typically, if I have a tryout, I'm going to run through like a machine BP, like 3 or 4 rounds of 5, get some guys some swings, because I'm just looking at swings. If you can't hit the machine in general, man, you don't deserve to be at the tryout anyway. So, but I let guys get their opportunity. Like, come up, show me your swing, show me what you're working with. Okay, cool. Now, after that, I do lives. So all the pitchers, I don't want to see you throw in a bullpen. Like I said, I want to see you throw against another dude. So I line up all those lives. So I remember last year, I think we had 20 arms or so. And I have my pitching coach there, and he lines up everybody. Okay, you're throwing, and I'll have guys throw 20 pitches. So you're going to throw 5 pitches to 4 batters. That's how I do it. I'm going to see you compete against 4 different dudes, and I get to see the hitters hit off different pitchers. So I get that win-win of competition. And I'm looking for guys who compete, who get after it. Now, specifically, if I'm looking at a pitcher, I'm looking at a guy who throws strikes. I'm not looking at a guy who's spraying the balls all over the place and he's flashing high velo. I don't want that guy. I don't have time to develop you to be able to make my team. I don't. You have to be able to show me that you know how to throw strikes. Now, if there's things that I can help you with as far as like your pitch usage, you know, how to pitch to guys, how to read hitters, I can help you with that stuff. But if I don't have the time to fix your mechanics and to make you throw strikes and to not be scared of contact. So I want to see guys come after it and throwing and filling up the zone. As far as a hitter, I want to see a guy taking a good approach. I don't want to see a guy out there swinging at everything, trying to hit home runs. I go, okay, cool. Like that doesn't do me any good. I want to see you taking close pitches. I want to see you putting on good takes. I want to see you being able to let the ball get deep and hitting the ball to all fields. I want to see you driving something hard up the middle, a low line drive up the middle. I want to see that. And what I will do too is I'll put guys in situations. So I'll put a runner at third base and say, hey, runner at third base, 1 out. And I want to see what the hitter does. I want to see what he does right there. I want to see what he's looking to do. How is he trying to score that guy, or does he even care? So that's what I'm looking for in a guy. Hold on. Sorry. I get rolling, man. I get all dried up.
You're good.
Water. More important than their baseball ability is the character of the individual. I'm going to get to know a guy. I want to know why. I want to know what he values about playing professional baseball. Why are you playing? Are you playing for the money? Are you playing for the chicks? Are you playing because it's cool? Are you playing because you don't have anything else to do? Like, what is it that you value about playing? You playing because everybody? You playing because your mom and dad want you to? You playing like why are you playing? Like, I want to know that because it means something to me. Because I have guys on my team with families. I got guys on my team with kids. I got guys that are married. This is serious business for these guys. This is their job. They're trying to get somewhere. And so I'm not going to bring in some guy who thinks this is summer ball. Like, oh, I'm just here to play and hope I get picked up and la da 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 da. I want to go out and drink some beers after the game. No, man, I'm not about that life. Like this is a team where I want everybody to play for the guy next to him. Like if you're not helping the guy next to you, then what good are you for me? And what good are you for yourself? Because if you want to get out of here, you have to play for the guy next to you. You can't get RBIs without anybody on base, man. You can't. And you can't sit there and pitch scoreless innings without trusting your defense and without pitching to contact and without attacking the zone. You cannot get anywhere by yourself in this game. And that's the problem. And I talked about this yesterday on a little live I did. I had some guys ask me about like performance anxiety in college players nowadays. And I said it's because guys work too selfishly. You see guys inside the cage just working on their spin. They want to throw to a Rapsodo and they want to see their spin and they want to work on all this stuff. But they don't want to work on controlling the running game. They don't want to work on understanding situational baseball. They don't want to understand controlling the count. They don't play for their teammates. They play for themselves. They play selfishly. Now, you can work selfishly, but you have to play selfish for the team. Like you have to know, like as a pitcher, your job's not to strike out everybody. You're not going to do that. I'm sorry, you're not going to strike out everybody. But if that's your goal, and you don't know how to pitch to contact and how to get a ground ball or how to beat a guy inside or outside, you're not going to make it. You can't do it by yourself. So that's a long answer, man. You
Oh,
get me.
well, I mean, thank you so much. I mean, if there's a lot of ball players that are looking for a team, you kind of just explain like your entire approach, your entire tryout. So if there's some
Don't come to
ball,
my crowd if you ain't that dude.
so if there's some ball players looking for a team, then you're kind of like the right guy to go to. So this is like perfect. So like, thank you so much for that answer. Um, next question, totally unrelated to the last one. What does an off day look like for an independent player?
Off day. So every in the Frontier League and now in the minor leagues too, we have every Monday off. So what I'll do on my off days is I still open up the field because I'll have half my guys want to come up and hit some BP. I'll have my pitchers that are like my starter for the next day. He's going to come up and play catch. If I have some relievers that want to come up and throw a bullpen because they didn't pitch in the past 2 days, there will be a time period. It's like till 1 o'clock. I said you can come up till 1 o'clock and then you got to go enjoy your day, man. This is an off day. Enjoy it. Now I think for an independent player, man, you got to relax. You got to unwind. You got to unplug your mind from the competition because as an independent player, the big difference, especially like in the minor leagues and college, your job is on the line every day. Every day you could possibly get cut. And that's the hard thing about being an independent manager is I hold these guys' careers. Essentially, I don't hold their careers, but I hold their job in my hand. And if they're not performing, if they're not playing for the team, if they're not doing what they need to do, then I have the ability to release them. And so that's always kind of there. And so that's kind of it's a pressure that they always feel. Like in college, I mean, you might not get playing time, but you're not going to be kicked off the team, like just because you have one bad game. The minor leagues, you're not going to get released if you have one bad outing. Or if you're not performing, you're going to get opportunity over the course of a couple months. Independent ball is not that way because I get 24 guys on my roster and it's about winning. It's about winning the game, about winning baseball, and it's about being a part of that culture. And then if you're not a part of that culture, if you're not pulling your weight, and if you're not doing what you need to do, and you don't understand your role, then I can release you and I can bring in somebody else who will. I'm always looking to evolve and always looking to make the team better. So it's the decisions aren't personal, even though I get to know these guys on a personal level. I know everything about them, build relationships with them, and so I have some very difficult releases. It's hard to release a guy sometimes, especially if you love him as a person. But it's why it's a business decision. This is not personal. It's about business because I'm trying to make a business decision to make the team better, rather than just help you out as an individual. So it makes it difficult sometimes.
Mhm. So before we wrap up, I asked everyone this question. If you could go back in time, what would you tell your 14-year-old self if you could?
I tell myself a lot. My 14-year-old self, I would say keep it simple. Like keep it simple. Don't get wrapped up in all the things going on. Like and have faith in what you're doing. Like, don't be scared of it. That would be the main thing. Is don't be afraid of taking a risk. Do not be afraid of risk, because with risk it becomes a reward. Don't be afraid of taking the risk. Have faith in what you do, and you have to accept failure. Like, failure is not a bad word. It has a negative connotation on it. It's not a bad thing. You can't grow without failing, and it's hard to grow. It's hard. It's not easy to grow. And baseball, I would tell myself too that baseball, it's yes, it's meant to be fun, but fun does not mean easy. It's not easy, especially if you want to be good at baseball. It's not easy, but have fun at it. But compete, man, compete, and don't back down. Don't back
Mhm.
down from anybody.
Okay, Coach Rhoades, we've reached the not so rapid fire questions, the final segment of the interview. So you can answer with as much or as little info as you want. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Mhm. So the Y'alls are about 20 minutes from Cincinnati. So what's the best thing to do in Florence besides watch the Y'alls play?
Yeah, I like to go out to eat. There's a lot of different restaurants in Florence. Or I go to half price books. That's what I do. I go to half price books and get some cheap books. That's what I like to do there. But as far as getting out, I don't leave the field. I live at the field. Most people don't know that I literally live in the clubhouse, and so I don't like to leave the field, man. I do not like to leave. If it's baseball season, I'm usually within 2 or 3 minutes of the stadium. I don't like to leave.
Mhm. So have any Y'alls that you know of gone to play in the majors?
Y'alls, no, not that I know of. Playing the major leagues, there's a lot of y'alls we sent to the minor leagues, and hopefully moving forward, that we send these couple of these pitchers this past year. I think they both have the ability. And there's a pitcher we sent 2 years ago, Justin King. I think he has an opportunity as well. And it's typically pitchers that have more opportunities than the hitters, because hitters that come in, they have to really prove a lot, and you have to do it for a long time, independent ball, to get out. As a pitcher, you can flash some things metrically, analytically, that people like, where you can show a velo and you can get looked at there. But I think there's three guys there that are former Y'alls that are playing the minor leagues right now that have an opportunity to get to the big leagues in the next 2 or 3 years.
So this is from my mom. So what does Lisbon do that you would like the US to adopt?
What do they do? They're friendly, man. They're like their culture is nice. I can go walk around this city at any time of night, any time of day, and I feel safe. I feel safe. My family, my wife feels safe. Like, you don't have any issue walking around this city, any part of it, at any time of the night. Like, and people are so friendly. The culture is family oriented. They don't live to work. So like they take their sweet time when they do anything work wise. Like, they're always gonna be late. like like I don't knock them anymore for it. But I'm gonna stand. You go getting groceries. You're gonna stand in the grocery line behind two people for like 30 minutes, no matter how much stuff they have, because the person behind the counter is like, he's just chilling. He's like, dude, how's your day? So it's a slow pace of life. I wish the U.S. didn't have such a heavy emphasis on work, and had a little bit more on family and enjoying your time, instead of the work life.
Mhm. And last one, what's your favorite baseball movie of all time?
Major League, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I love For Love of the Game. That's like gets me. It gets me every time. You're gonna break me down. You gonna make me cry watching Kevin Costner smell like cologne, and like, and then and going out there and I love For Love of the Game. I love that one. I do love a lot of baseball movies. And Major League, though, Major League has always been there. It might be one of my first ones I saw. What's yours? What's your favorite one?
I have three: Major League, The Sandlot, and Field of Dreams. Those are my like three favorite, I
All
guess.
good. They're all
Hmm.
good. The Sandlot, you can't beat. You seen Rookie of the Year? You seen all those? You seen
Yeah, I've seen a lot of baseball movies, probably like maybe 20 in my entire.
Scout? All those? Yeah, there's. I don't think they're gonna make a good one. I saw the new one. What's that
The
one?
Hill. Is
The
it?
one that was supposed to be that town that I grew up in is in Bowie, Texas. Is where he said he was from. Yeah, I watched that recently. It is okay. It is
Mhm.
okay.
Well, Chad Rhoades, we did it. Coach, thank you so much. So, do you have anything else you want to add or ask me?
Oh man, I appreciate you having me on. So who's the best interview you've had? Who's the best interview you've had, and what's the best piece of information that you have learned?
Um, Probably one of the best interviews I've ever had was when I interviewed Brett Phillips. He was a player for the Rays, then he played for the Orioles, but he hit the walk-off hit in Game 4 of the 2020 World Series. Probably the best one I ever had. Brett Phillips was he's amazing, man. Baseball is fun. I can't not see that guy play. He's such a good energy.
Nice. What's the best piece of information that you've learned in your interviews?
Um, Piece of information. Well, I didn't know that Brett Phillips um he I forgot his name. He played basketball with I forgot his name.
Like a big
Randy Macho Man Savage. He played basketball with Randy
really
Macho Man Savage, yeah, when he was young. And he also said don't be afraid to fail. And that's one of the biggest things ever. Mhm. Well, this was awesome. If you want to catch a Y'alls game this season in Florence, Kentucky at Thomas More Stadium, check out FlorenceYalls.com for the complete schedule and ticket info. And please follow Chad Rhoades at pitching_professor on Instagram. And you can help my show by subscribing to Baseball Podcaster Fun on YouTube and Spotify, and going to Baseball Podcaster Fun on Instagram. Please check back soon for an all-new guest. Until then, that was Coach Chad Rhoades. I am Grayson Knight, and this is Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Don't forget to swing for the fences. See ya!